Act 1, Scene 2 takes place on Saturday when there is a general cleanup in the Younger home. The Youngers are a proud group of people whom, despite the worn-out nature or the old nature of their furniture, still give it some polishing because it is material that had been selected with care and with pride. Benietta sprays the cracks on the wall to expel cockroaches, to tell you how uncomfortable and unpleasant the apartment is. In the previous scene, Ruth had fainted, and Mama had thought that this had happened because of exhaustion, and so she had asked Ruth to see the doctor. The phone rings, and Walter receives a call from Willie Harris asking if the check has arrived. Now, it's better to understand that Willie Harris is the young man who was introduced to Walter the liquor business in which Walter wants to invest. Mama also gets information that Benietta's Nigerian boyfriend, Asagai, will be visiting. Naturally, Mama doesn't like when visitors visit the house when it is not arranged. Benietta cautions Mama that when Asagai arrives, she shouldn't ask him embarrassing questions because Mama's knowledge about Africa is a place of pagans. And that is why the church is sending so much money to Africa for evangelization. Ruth returns to announce that she's 2 months pregnant, and Benietta wants to know if she had planned from the pregnancy or it is accidental, because the presence of a new member in the family will put pressure on the financial situation of the Younger family. Secondly, there will be no space for accommodation. Asagai comes in and hands Benietta a parcel of African fabrics straight from Nigeria, and she is excited as she tries them on and dances merrily to a Yoruba traditional ritual dance. The exchange between Mama and Asagai is warm, cordial, hospitable, and respectful. Mama is charmed by Asagai's simplicity and humility, and she invites him to visit regularly so that he can have home-cooked meals. The whole family awaits the check anxiously as it is handed and verified. Mama sends Travis to get some cleanser from Mrs. Johnson, who doesn't have much herself. Mama would have handed the check to the church or to some charity work, but she would not do that. She does not also want Walter to use that money and invest in liquor business for the reasons we had already said in the previous scene. She wants to use that money to accomplish a long family dream that she and her husband had shared, having a home for the Younger family. Mama comes back and tells them that Mama comes and tells Walter that Ruth has just returned and she is pregnant and that he should speak to her. But Walter does not care about talking to Ruth and leaves, making Mama to feel very disappointed. The reason being is because Mama has refused to give him the money to invest, and he believes that his dream of becoming an entrepreneur has been crushed. Mama realizes that there is something eating up her son, and she advises him to be nice to his wife because Ruth is a nice and patient girl. Walter simply wants to go out. Mama regrets the changing times. In the past, blacks just wanted to be free. But now the new generation talks only about money. Ruth finally tells Mama that she will want to abort the family. And she urges her son to stop her from doing so. But Walter is not interested. The scene focuses on the hospitality of the younger family, in the manner in which Mama receives Asagai, and the open invitation which she gives to him to visit the house whenever he deems necessary. Secondly, the scene also focuses on the love that Asagai has for Benyatta. He orders original African fabrics straight away from Nigeria, which he gives to her as a gift. And these are the things which will start to awaken the awareness within Benyatta to start having some interest about her African ancestry. And Asagai is the inspiration that brings out this aspiration. It is also important because this scene brings out suspense, because we continue to ask ourselves, will the check money arrive? And if the check money does, what are they going to do with the money? And when Mama gets the money, Mama tells Walter that the money will not be invested in liquor, making Walter to become angry. The scene is also important because it shows us the primordial role that Mama plays within the younger family. She is the nucleus that holds the family together. She cares about everyone. She's worried about Ruth's pregnancy and the baby that she's expecting, and she wants her son to treat his wife right. There is a contrast between Mama and Benyatta. While Mama cares about the pregnancy and the baby that will be born, Benyatta is worried about the comfortability of the family's finances and accommodation. She thinks only about herself. Asagai tells Benyatta that she doesn't need to straighten her hair to look white. She should adjust her hairstyle, which will be able to fit with her African identity. Benyatta wants to become an independent and liberated woman. Walter is upset because the plan that he had of the money has been thwarted, and he becomes ashamed of himself. And we're also told that this scene helps us to track the plot. Will Mama finally buy the house? There is a parallelism. While Walter is anxious waiting for the money, Benyatta is also anxious waiting for Asagai to be introduced to her family. Asagai, therefore, is the character in the play who gives a Raisin in the Sun an international dimension. This scene gives us a picture of the desperation of the African American, the poverty of the younger family, and the conflict that will arise because of the arrival of the check.